Hello friends. You've built a prototype of your game and now you're ready to move on to the next step, but you should get some feedback first. You may be your own worst critic, or maybe you're actually incredibly biased towards your own work. In either case, it's good to share your prototype, concept art, and plot synopsis with others and respond to their feedback before you commit to developing your game any further. Speaking of which, what do you think of my work so far? You can play this prototype right now on my itch page, linked below. Where to test? Itch is a great place to post your prototypes, either for downloading onto Windows or Mac, or a web build playable in the browser. They can be set to either be publicly accessible or restrict access to only people you provide with a link and a password. This is extra helpful for prototypes because at this stage of development, without any audio or visual assets, it's not a good idea to seek the opinions of random strangers. Who to test? Your average gamer is not very likely to provide useful feedback for your prototype. Simply stating the obvious lack of content, or wildly throwing out ideas of things you should add that do not fit your design. Share your prototype with people you know, hopefully other game developers, who can understand what is and is not included in the prototype, and are capable of imagining the final product from the prototype. If you don't know many game developers personally, you can find communities of game developers on Discord servers like ours, linked below. Feel free to post something in our Work in Progress channel. When to test? Many game developers and studios will tell you that you need to test early and often. Since we're only at the prototyping stage, this would be the earliest time we could possibly test. Testing often will not only provide ongoing feedback on the progress of your game, but also potential motivation to keep you working on the project to meet deadlines so you always have new content that needs testing. But the methods of testing will vary throughout the development process. So how do we specifically test a prototype? How to test? Even if you're only showing your prototype to other game developers, you may still need to provide some heavy guidance to your testers. Your testers might have no experience with the genre you're developing or have never played a prototype of any kind before. Your prototype shouldn't include any kind of tutorial or narrative cutscenes telling the tester what to do. So either telling the testers how to play or providing some basic in-game instructions of what to do is perfectly fine. If the testers want to know about the plot or art direction you have planned, sharing your concept art and plot synopsis might also be helpful. What to test? Your guidance will also need to continue to the collection of feedback through careful structuring of questions asked after the test is over. Even if your playtesters are other game developers, that doesn't make their feedback automatically helpful. Prioritize asking focused questions about specific aspects of how your prototype feels to play. Are the controls intuitive? Does controlling the character feel good? Was the information you needed presented on screen easy to find and understand? What specific part of your prototype did they like or dislike? Answers to these types of questions can result in you tweaking and adjusting your prototype to improve it. If you want more ideas for your next steps, you can also ask questions about what the testers would add, change, or remove from your game. But don't feel like you have to include these questions if you would rather have full creative control over your game's design, and expect that many of the responses you get will be wildly unreasonable, such as adding multiplayer or changing the genre entirely. More information that might be helpful to know is what previous experience the tester has with games of your genre. A tester who has never played a game like yours before will have different opinions than a fan of that type of game. This can provide insights into how your target audience will receive your game versus the general gamer population. Why test? Either you'll be able to use the feedback you collect to fine-tune your prototype to make it feel nearly perfect, giving you a solid foundation to build upon, or you'll discover that your game idea just doesn't work and you shouldn't continue to work on it. But this shouldn't be seen as a failure on your part. This is exactly why we build prototypes, so we can fail fast and move on to the next idea until we find one that does work. Going back to the drawing board. When you inevitably return to the drawing board multiple times over the duration of your game development journey, it's important that you aren't starting over from a blank slate. You should carry the knowledge and lessons learned through the prototyping phase with you as you reiterate and make your next prototype that much better for it. Not only that, but many features of games are common across many, if not all genres, and can be repurposed easily. To make the process of prototyping faster, it helps to build a hollow game project, one that contains all of the basic necessities every game will need, and use that as your starting point every time you build a new prototype. This will save you hours of repeatedly rebuilding the same basic features over and over again for every new prototype. You may also want to build up a library of scripts over time for other features which are common but not universal, so you can import them into each new prototype as needed. Even if you need to repeat the entire process up until this point multiple times, you'll eventually build a prototype that is really fun to play and have the feedback to back it up. In the next video, we'll start planning to build our vertical slice. I'll see you in the next video.